All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first meeting of 2025. Today is Tuesday, January the 7th, and we are streaming the meeting live as well as archiving it on the City of Madison's YouTube channel. I'd like to welcome all of our guests, and especially Hudson and Tammy and Lindsay. So welcome. Like with all of our meetings, we'll stand and invite you to recite the Lord's Prayer with us, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll get to business.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you like to do roll call, please?
Sure. Patrick Tevenau.
Here.
Carla Krebs.
Here.
Lucy DeTillo.
Here.
Joshua Schaefer.
Here.
Joel Storm.
Here.
Jim Bartlett.
Here.
Josh Wilbur.
Here.
Council, have you had an opportunity to review minutes from the prior meeting? I believe we have 2 minutes to review, Tuesday, December 17th, as well as a special meeting on December the 30th. So we'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the minutes.
I will second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. First order of business for 2025 is the election of President Pro Tem. Are there any nominations?
I'd be happy to nominate Carla Krebs to continue as President Pro Tem for the coming year.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a nomination and a second of Carla Krebs. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor for election of President Pro Tem Krebs, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Congratulations. You get the privilege of working with me again for another year. It's going to be awesome. And I heard what you said. Good luck. We have so much to do in 2025, and Carla, or I should say Council, Madam President Krebs, does an excellent job representing the council body and working with the mayor's office and the clerk's office in fulfilling our key initiative. So welcome aboard again. Moving on, we will go straight to bills on second reading, and then we believe we have 2 tonight.
The first one is ordinance number 2024-17, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, amending the zoning map of the City of Madison, Indiana. Now, actually, that was tabled, wasn't it?
Oh, okay. If it's tabled, we need to bring it off the table.
Yeah, I believe that was
You're right.
tabled. So it was tabled at second reading.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to take it off the table?
Yeah.
You do.
I'll make the motion to take it off the table.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now it's off the table. Sorry about that. I thought it was a
That's okay.
postponement, but I think it was a tabling. Okay. Now we can proceed.
It's off the table, so
Did you want to read the ordinance by title, or did you already? Yeah.
Yeah, this is ordinance, is 2024-17, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, amending the zoning map of the City of Madison, Indiana, and that's 2317 Lanier Drive. And this was a an unfavorable recommendation by the Planning Commission to change this from general business to medium density residential. And again,
Against the recommendation.
against the
Yes.
recommendation of the commission, vote no with the recommendation.
Is that correct? I mean, because I would think, because it is they've said it's an unfavorable. So if we vote yes, wouldn't that be yes, we agree with the unfavorable?
Yeah, we're concurring with that agreement.
Well, what you have in front of you is an ordinance that will change the map.
Right, okay.
So, you're voting on the ordinance, but
And-
there's a correlation to the recommendation, whether it be favorable or unfavorable
Got you.
from the Plan Commission.
Okay, sorry, just want to make sure.
Yep.
This is kind of, it's changed from how we did things like 5 years ago when we came in too. It's flip-flopped. I think it makes a little bit more sense. Either way, it's kind of wonky no matter how we vote, because, yeah, but yeah.
But the ordinance, as it's in front of you, is to change it. And so if you vote for this ordinance, it would be to change it. If you vote against it, it is.
So we need a motion before discussion? No. Okay.
We're in the second reading. Our building inspector, Brian Shaw, is here tonight too, to maybe give statements or answer questions to the council, as this was tabled for, postponed from the last meeting. And I do see the applicant in the audience too.
Any further discussion on this?
I just want to clarify, we're postponing this, we're taking this off the table, or the,
It is off the table and now it's for discussion and action.
okay.
So the only thing I'd like to say is I appreciate that the mayor's office and the planning commission or building inspector, whoever's been involved in this at a city level, I appreciate the fact that they've gone above and beyond what was expected and done a lot of due diligence to make sure that a good decision is made about this issue. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
I think there was a lot of sympathy, empathy, and careful thought in it, and a little bit extra work.
Thank you, Councilman. Yes? I was good. If council, anything else to add, council? Okay.
Jonathan Thompson.
Mr. Thompson?
I started work at IKE for MPW. I believe one of your major concerns was sanitation in the toilet. You're the building inspector?
Yes, sir.
This gentleman wants to. He can look at the building and tell me about putting a toilet in. I can buy one, and that issue could be resolved. Also, I was not trying to go against any ordinances or anything, but I was within my rights to put a building that small there. I didn't know I needed a permit or anything. So sorry if that slided you or your group. That's all.
Thank you. Brian, anything you want to add? Brian, anything you want to add? No. Okay.
He was thinking.
Okay, all right. Yeah, this is an unfortunate situation, and sorry that we are here because we are being asked to make a zoning decision. The council and the mayor's office is. And we also have to take into consideration the current zoning and the highest and best uses for the area there. I'll turn it back over to council, but there, a lot of thought has gone in here, and we definitely want to help you land it in a good place with regards to good housing.
Can you give us kind of a rundown of kind of the next steps for you, kind of where you're at, so we can understand, how to work through this with you?
If allowed to keep the cabin on the property, my next step is continue working IKE, put the toilet in, and also catch up on my bills. And whatever else I need to do with you all to make it on the up and up.
In the event that the city can't reach an agreement to keep that direction, do you have a contingency if you can't stay there?
So I got the list of resources, and Section 8, although not impossible, is probably not likely in this county that I reside in because I've caught felonies inside of our major Section 8 housing facilities, Presidential and Windridge. So that's probably,
Yeah.
you know, so no, I was just homeless prior to my grandmother trying to help me with that childhood land there, and I was staying here, there, everywhere, uncertain of what was going to happen or anything, you know what I mean, whether I'd be in trouble just for being in the wrong spot or anything. So no, I have no contingency plan. There probably isn't one.
Okay.
I've been trying to think,
Yeah.
couch surfing like I was doing, and
Do you have any family in the area?
my mother is gone. My dad lives with his mother, and a lot of my other family are either in jail, prison, or dead, or not able to help me because no room. Like I
Gotcha.
tried to go live with my dad. They paroled me out to the Heart House, a homeless shelter, because I had nowhere to go.
Right. Do you think if you were given a resource immediately, do you think there's a timeline in your head where you could use that to launch you to, a more permanent solution?
Well, either way, holding the job and upon my birthday, the land is supposed to become mine, and I'm trying to turn it into residential. So even if it is a no today, what do I need to do afterwards to do that? Because otherwise, why am I getting this land just to not be able to do anything with it?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I understand it's zone general business in a lot of areas, but two of those zonings are residential. You know, the Scott, which I understand also is grandfathered in, but those are residential buildings. That's not businesses. It's an
Right.
apartment building, and then the Scott's house, who I grew up next to my whole life. But no, I have no contingency plan. A resource immediately would keep me from sleeping outside or somewhere unsavory where I might get in trouble.
Right.
But
Do you have any ability to pay rent if a place came available to you?
again, I mean, I'm working, so that is all very possible. But again, if I get the land, I'm paying rent when I have a. Now I didn't know about the permits and those loopholes. I was doing all kinds of research on the internet. I guess I should have just called down here, because
Sure,
it's screwed me in. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to invest in that to have time, and then I want to put a brick house on it over some years
Right.
and have something for the family.
Right.
That's the long-term goal, and I know it'd be probably 10, 20 years to do something like that, starting off with nothing, but
Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I'm optimistic for you. I guess what I was trying to figure out, like, if your idea for the land eventually is to develop it, do we have a pathway in the future to do that? Does that exist? You know what I mean?
what do you mean?
In terms with the city, do we have a pathway to actually put plumbing in there?
Yes,
and-
there is
yeah.
city plumbing there. Nate Hammonds just redid the water meter. I got a freeze-proof yard hydrant I bought and put in myself with Nate. I installed the mailbox there. There was no mailbox.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've been trying. I got a wood pole sticking up. I was going to put a temporary electric meter there and all that,
Mhm.
but that got put off. I bought a generator because I needed something right then. Then I got so broke without a job and stuff that I sold it. Now I'm back working, so it's just been.
How long have you been at IKE, if I
I
may
just
ask?
started.
You just started?
I haven't got my first check yet.
Okay,
I should get it Wednesday.
okay. And is that something you plan on doing, like, permanently?
I mean,
Or-
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So Jonathan, the property's name is in the name of Gerald. That's your grandfather?
Yes, that's my dad's father, Gerald and Sandra. And Sandra signed off on this request to amend it.
Okay, because I know it hasn't been changed like in the GIS. That's our little Bible that we go to, for who owns what. And it still says Gerald and
Sandra.
Sandy. Right,
And
okay.
Gerald has been deceased for many years.
So it's not official, but she signed off on your request is what you're saying
She signed
To
off
change
on the
it?
official application.
for the planning commission, but nothing has been filed like with the county to officially change it, the ownership.
Oh,
See, that's what I'm saying, like
oh, I
we
thought
go on
you
here
were
and
talking
you
about
don't
the
own that.
application.
Right,
No, I
see,
did
you,
not
like
own it.
officially you don't own that property and yet you're asking for a rezoning.
Yes, but it said on the paperwork, if not in your name, and she signed
Okay.
off on it.
All right, thank you. But
And I
that,
won't be able
is
to-
your grandfather still alive?
No, he is deceased for many years.
But your grandmother is?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
She won't let me have it until my birthday. I have to maintain a job and stay out of trouble.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so it sounds like regardless of the decision, there needs to be some kind of like forethought, because it seems like in the immediacy, it can't work out like today. It doesn't sound like, because there's not plumbing today, there's not the electrical and the things that are needed. So it would be a violation of that. What I'm interested in is getting your solution as quick as possible, and then how to mitigate your problem in the meantime. You know what I mean? So like, that's why I was asking those questions. Like, if there's an ability to get you temporary housing, which I have a few ideas I might be able to talk to you offline about, but would that actually help you, or would that be a hindrance?
I mean, if I'm paying all this money somewhere else, how am I gonna develop the land is one of my thoughts. Of course, I know what subsidized housing entails, but again, if I'm working, they will just charge me market rent. It won't be no different than renting somewhere. I mean, it
Sure.
might not be
Yeah.
800 or 1,000 like being above the coffee shop or something, but it's gonna be at least 500.
Right. What? And I understand that, but I think we all have those. Those are all common issues for everybody to kind of sort and parse that out. What I'm looking at is like, is there a solution to make sure that you're not living out on the streets in freezing cold weather? You know what I mean?
I'm
And-
not sure.
Yeah. Well, I think we can talk offline and figure something out, but I just kind of wanted to wrap my head around those pathways, because we can't have, we work so hard to make sure that this is a safe community and healthy and stuff, and you're working hard trying to, come up. I think what you're discovering too, as I still am, is it's the unknown things that kind of get you, right? A tax here or a cost there or an additional thing. I'm very sympathetic to that. I understand that. But I also understand, like, sometimes we got to build smaller steps to those bigger goals. You know what I mean? So, like, I would like to talk to you offline if we could, to kind of develop a little pathway to that, see if you're agreeable to any of it.
That's fine, but so far the safest place for me has been on that land. Now the sanitation issue, I understand is a very serious matter, and I'm trying to remedy that as soon as possible. I've also done the best I can, though. Some people around here have dogs, and they shit all in their backyard, defecate all in their backyard, and you can't even walk through it.
Mm-hmm.
You come to my yard, that is not the case, which you can't tell now it's snow. But I don't keep animals. I don't defecate in my backyard. I don't do any of that. Now, I told the mayor how I have been handling it. Gas stations, now I have a bucket and a bag. The minimum amounts is not much different than if I had a child and I was putting diapers in it. I'm not just leaving waste laying everywhere. You know what I mean? I'm not throwing cow pies at my neighbor's house, none of that.
Yeah.
Now, the electricity thing, I'm curious as to why that is such a major concern. Because as long as I get the plumbing in order and I have heat, granted, I don't want to be sitting in front of no businesses trying to charge my phone, but why is that such a major?
I'm not the building inspector, but I can see from like a fire standpoint as well. There's several hazards. So if you have, things that aren't a certain code with electric,
There's no electric ran.
Well, what I'm saying is, in the event that you got any heat or you were running your own, you could have those issues. I think there's myriad of issues. It has nothing as a demerit against you, but we've taken time in the city to ensure that there's a certain code, there's certain compliance, and there's a regulation with all this stuff, so that when first responders, it mitigates issues for first responders, for neighboring, buildings and stuff like that. Like, that's very carefully crafted, you know what I mean? And I think the big thing is, like, how do we uphold that, but at the same time provide you with a pathway so that you're not, extremely, bad off, like, to a dangerous degree, you know what I mean?
I mean, if you had opportunity and was like, I can move in right now, okay, but I don't see any. And that's probably where it's gonna be, is at least dangerous for me, with my freedom or my health.
Mhm.
I do have heat though, and I'm using gas heat, not electric.
Okay.
But I would probably prefer electric, just because, like you said, fires, you just never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I got a blue Rhino container. I see them everywhere. I don't see any of them blowing up,
Yeah,
although
Yeah.
I know it's possible.
sure. Right on.
Is,
Okay.
is there any more questions?
No, thank you.
Yeah, I would just say thank you for being here again tonight. In my personal perspective is, we certainly don't want you to be without shelter. I just feel like with the resources we've, asked you to look into, please take that seriously and look for other housing options. That you're not going to get a building permit the way that property is currently zoned to try to, run electric or plumbing to it. And, it's just not zoned for the use that you're intending to do it. We'd still like to see you move that to a different location that's not in conflict with the current zoning.
I don't have nowhere to move it. If it comes to me, I'm gonna move it, I'm just gonna give it back. And I thought the whole point was to try and rezone it. Why I paid the money for the application and
Yeah.
all that. So, but I mean, if
But
there's nobody.
that resource guide that Brian shared with you, there's several resources in there for housing. And I want you to be housed. But
If there's Section 8 in Judge County, Indiana, I am probably not going to get it. I got drug felonies in Preston Winters. That's usually barred from the entire property if that happens. So, I mean, I looked at it, I glanced at it already. Food pantries, I thought maybe. What I'm trying to understand is why it seems like such a huge battle to rezone it. If I got certain things in order, like, what would I have to do to get it rezoned? Obviously, this sanitation matter, but what else would I have to do? Do I need to just buy a permit and can they backdate it or something?
we'll let Brian, if you don't mind, introduce yourself and talk at the podium here.
Building Inspector Brian Shaw. Ray has met with him and talked to him, and of course, he needed to send out notices to all of the properties around to see if it was okay to rezone it. And he did not follow those steps. So that's why we are where we are. And then he didn't come to the next meeting. And then the number we have for him, we tried to contact him. I went to his house. So that's how we're landed where we are.
Okay, I was in poverty, which is why I didn't get the certified mail. I spoke on that. He wasn't here though. I've not received a call. If I have, what is the number you would call?
The number I'm calling is 812-571-6119. Is that your number?
No, 6197.
This is the number we have on file, on the application and everything.
6197.
Let's just bring it back to the podium if we can. Nope, anything else, Brian? Anything
No,
relative
I'm
to
sorry, no.
this?
Yes. No.
Mr. Thompson, do you have any other remarks, or council, do you have any other questions?
I don't understand why that phone number's on the application. My number is 6197.
We have no more questions.
Any more questions? No questions?
Thank
Any-
you.
Yep. Any comments or questions from the audience? If so, please come to the podium.
Hi, y'all. Hope everybody had a nice New Year. I have a question. Is there anybody on this council that owns lots of properties that might have a place he could live for a while?
Well, Debbie, I think that was going to be my offline discussion, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if we can help him, because I really think he's trying, and we want to help people that try, right? So, that was my question.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
I would like to see the application where it shows that it's my phone number.
Do a roll call vote. Clerk?
Okay, Patrick Tavanel,
No.
Carla Krebs,
No.
Lucy DiTillo,
No.
Joshua Schaefer,
No.
Joel Storm.
No.
Jim Bartlett,
No.
Josh Wilbur.
No.
Thank you, council. Mr. Thompson, thank you for being here.
The next ordinance is ordinance number 2024-18, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Madison, Indiana, amending the zoning map of the City of Madison, Indiana, and that's for 130 Miles Ridge, from low-density residential to general business. And this was given a favorable recommendation by the Plan Commission. Are there any questions or comments from the council?
just gonna remind the council, this is about the dentist office that was used both as business and residential for, even though it was zoned, as residential, and now they just want, it's just business that they wanna, conduct on the property. So,
This property too had no sort of spot zoning issues that we ran into with the other one, so it's contiguous with other general business zoning uses.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Anything for the audience? Seeing and hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Patrick Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Carla Krebs,
Yes.
Lucy DiTillo,
Yes.
Josh Schaefer,
Yes.
Joel Storm,
Yes.
Jim Bartlett,
Yes.
Josh Wilbur.
yes.
Thank you, council. Council, under miscellaneous, there are 3 items there: a board appointment roster, 2025 holiday calendar, and the 2025 meeting calendar. I believe there are a couple of board vacancies that are council appointments. I didn't know if you had any action on them tonight, or it could just be for information only, but as we proceed into the month of January, myself and you, and I know the county's doing the same thing, which is filling vacancies in our committee roster.
So we have 2 board appointments that are council ones that, do we need to make a motion that we've contacted those people? We've asked them if they would like to serve again. And I think, so I would like to, can I do 2 at the same time?
Yep.
Okay. So I would like to move that Nancy Burkhart be reappointed to the BZA, and that Jim Bartlett be reappointed to the PACE Committee.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, I do not have any tonight, which would require council approval, so we'll move to public comments. If there's anybody here who would like to address the mayor's office and city council, please come to the podium.
Hello, Lisa Ferguson. I live at 718 East 2nd Street. It'll be me talking, not Huddy. He's falling asleep on y'all.
Exciting stuff.
Just a few things. I think that we all like good news items. It's a part of our nature to want to do good and know good. And so we're starting off a new year, and not everybody's on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, you got a lot of notifications from the mayor, kind of keeping us all updated with the weather that was coming and, what was going to be going on. Gina loves when all the texts come through about the trash, but he was doing such a good job keeping us updated on what was going on. There's a lot of people that aren't on Facebook, and so a couple people called me today and said, Lisa, we signed up for those notifications. We wonder if we could get those as well, like when we get a tornado or a bad storm warning. I was like, I don't know. I'll ask Bob that tonight. So, now we love your face, but not everybody's on Facebook, so maybe it would be another way to, like Charlie's not on there and other people.
Yeah, I'll just mention this. The county has a great system. We did put the information on how to sign up for the county alert system, which is through text message. The city had been using the county system, and then they changed it, and it didn't mesh with our website. There's not a great functional way at the city level, but we are working on it.
Okay.
But any notification from the city or the county can be received by signing up for the county's notifications. I don't recall them offhand, but they were put in our Facebook posts where they could go and text whatever number, and it would automatically sign them up for all the county notices, which they'll get for emergency weather, trash routes, any other announcements.
I have that, but
Yeah.
I didn't get any notifications on this weather at all. But I usually get them. So, but I didn't get them this time on any of it.
Okay, well,
So
that's
I
interesting.
just assumed that was like a, not really weather, even though it was snow weather.
Yeah.
But whatever, just, for somebody to think
I'll-
about.
Thank you for bringing that up. I will follow up on that with
Sure.
our EMA director,
Okay.
Matt Troop.
And that's another thing that, sadly, before the last EMA director was leaving, I had requested a meeting with him about some of these things coming from us a small town, a much smaller town than Madison, and then a very large town before we came here of, if we'd have a major power outage, because in 1978, I was in high school then, and we lived through that. And so our high school became the place for us to go. And they had generators, and my mom went to cooking in the school cafeteria because we had to feed people who were stranded. And so I wanted to talk to him about that, and then sadly he passed away beforehand. I've talked to Officer Scudder about, trying to maybe come up with something like that. And so that's just something else to, bring to you all to see. Today, around town, there was lots of incidences, and I love these stories. Like, I walked from 9:45 until 3:10 today. So when you walk that much, you get to see a lot of good things, and you just cancel out the bad things. You just look at the good things. So the city workers were crazy busy today. We all know how that's been for a couple days. I think those men just live for days like this when they can get those overtime hours. But, what I noticed more than anything is when there's snow plowing, if they notice that somebody was stuck and they needed help, I'm sorry y'all might have to pay overtime hours, but they got out and helped people. And that means a lot when you live in a small town. Those things stand out to me, as well as we all expect the snowplow to come and the garbage is going to show up on time and all of those things. But it's tremendous when they go above and beyond. And I think we don't recognize people like that enough, that just naturally have that goodness about them, and I appreciate that. It's a great thing when you drive by and they know you by name and they yell out at you, that's because you walk a lot, I guess. But I appreciate that. And today I noticed on the mayor, I follow other towns just because I like following other small towns. The mayor of Charleston had a really good post, and I thought Madison could rise to this occasion if we put it out. So she put out and said, we have a lot of elderly and disabled that live in our community. And is there anybody that's willing to just step up and help some of these people? And like, all the responses were crazy. And we have a little bit of that going on here, just not officially through the city, but a lot of people that just step up and do things. So there's a guy, I think he must work for the county and not the city. I don't know him personally, PJ Guyman.
Yeah.
And he put on his Facebook page, if anybody needs anything, I'll be happy to do it. And while I can go and do things for other people, he would get a blessing from doing it for somebody else. And so I sent him a message, and there's a couple veterans that I'll look out for, and he went over there and did it. And he sent me a message this morning. He said, thanks for that, Lisa. And that meant a lot to me, that he wanted to do that. Later, I was able to go out and dig out my aunt and uncle more than he was able to, because he was trying to do 10 houses this morning. But I think that Madison could rise to that if we started some type of program like that. If we know there's people in our neighborhoods that especially are vulnerable, that we could reach out and help them. And I know Madison would rise to that. I thought that was a great idea on Trevor's part.
I've known PJ since he was a little boy. He is the Jefferson County Animal Control Officer, and he's not a little boy anymore.
Yes,
by the
he's
way.
not a little boy.
But he is very kind-hearted, and I did see that he was out there, and I think others have been out there too.
Yes.
But I appreciate you bringing that up, as well as your kind remarks for all the crews, the city of Madison, but all the crews, the county, and all of our first responders, and everybody who's been responding to this winter storm. There's still more to do on the kind of the recovery element of it, and particularly in preparation of more snow coming in on Friday. So we're just doing the best that we can, and I'm not sure people really realize how much our staff does and how limited the numbers are. And I'll give you just a little, since you brought it up. Just over the last couple of days, 260 man hours. We drove 2,051 miles plowing roads, spread 225 tons of salt in the city. There's a multiplier effect to that with Jason Copeland and the team at Jefferson County, but an enormous amount of 24-hour attention to the safety for the city of Madison. And through that we had some declarations relative to travel restrictions. We were in very, very close contact with all the major employers in our community, and was getting real-time feedback from everybody over the course of the last 48 hours of working together. And I'm really proud of the response, very proud of Matt True and the Emergency Management Agency and the work that they've done in coordinating resources. There's still more to do, but there was a tremendous amount of effort happening while most of us were able to just be safe in our homes.
So true. So, those are just some of the things that I wanted to bring up to you all because I told the mayor when we moved here I was going to live through rose-colored glasses. And I refuse to not do that. And that's not always possible. Today, a lady got stuck over trying to get into the public parking lot, and she's just riveting it. And I know the reverse drive thing because I got stuck today in the alleyway too, trying to get Charlie to pickleball. But 5 guys jumped out and they're like trying to help her, and I'm like, that's what I want to see, And then there's a guy, he was saying some bad words about the street department because his car had gotten buried on Main Street, and he was trying to complain about it. And a girl came up behind him and was like, I've got a shovel, I'll help you. And he goes, well, I can't do it. I have on flip-flops and socks. And he did have on flip-flops and socks. And I said, well, you need to get snow boots. He goes, well, I don't have them. And she goes, well, you need to go in your house and get your shoes. So he went in to get his shoes, and 20 minutes later, she was still digging him out, and he never came back out. And I was like, you need to take your shovel and your Jeep and go on home because he's not coming back out here to dig his own car out. But she was so gracious to do it. And she was younger, a lot younger than me. But those are like good news stories that just don't go on around town. And I love those stories. I grew up with a dad that said you can wake up every day and you can do good, bad, or be indifferent to people. And so your job is to keep my name on the good side. And so I'm trying to live up to that every day. Not everybody does. Some people neglect their elderly neighbors, snow blow right around where they live and go on the rest of the way. And I choose to not do that. And I know that y'all choose not to do that, most of you, because you're sitting up here. We live in a tremendous community, and I feel so blessed to live here. And I just want to thank you all for that.
Thank you, Lisa. It's very nice to hear kind words for our council and team and staff, because we really do have just a phenomenal team all around. And when you mention it, you have to also talk in the context of police and fire and our EMTs and our sheriff's department and emergency responders and EMA, and there's just so many people working hard to make Madison the best and safest place it can be, particularly in bad weather like this. So thank you for that. Anybody else would like to make a public comment? I have just a couple of quick announcements. Look for an invitation for the groundbreaking of the residences at Sunrise Crossing, which will be at 11 a.m. on January the 27th. Sunrise Crossing is a development we've been working on for several years, and we're now ready to break ground, and that will, over the course of the next year, bring much needed housing to our community. It's been about 40 years since we've had any major housing development. More plans also underway. I would also want to mention Board of Public Works and Safety is Thursday. It was moved from yesterday because City Hall was closed, so it is on Thursday. And again, be on the lookout for more announcements when we have severe weather. I did mention all the manpower that went into just responding to the winter storm. I want to give you just another quick statistic too about solid waste. We spent a lot of time last year talking trash, and it's become one of my favorite subjects. But I want to mention that over the course of 2024, we processed 11,083 tons of solid waste. We also processed about 250,000 tons of recyclables and 815 tons. You wouldn't think there'd be this much compost with leaves and trees, but 815 tons of compost. We did a remarkable job turning the solid waste operation around, and the compost yard up there did have a mountain of compost, and we've probably gotten about 50% of that moved away, and that's creating a lot more capacity for us. But we're doing a much better job on the solid waste front all around. But we talk a lot about living in a small town, but we have the same problems a big town does, and there is just a lot of solid waste that has to be collected and processed and disposed of. But guess what our guys were doing today after spending the last 48 hours in storm response? They're now collecting trash, without, we had a 1-day delay there, but I couldn't say enough about our team and how remarkable and committed they are. Wherever and whatever they do, whatever it takes. So I'll stop there. Council, I'll turn it over to you. Our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, January 21st, back here.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Joe.